thoughts right after the game, after you looked at everything?
Just after
confirmed? Worse
yeah,
than you
thought? No, I don't think it was any worse than I thought. I think Bart, as you look at it, it was, you know, my initial assessment, my gut feeling when we stepped off the field was the fact that we didn't play nearly as aggressive and physical as we wanted to play. We had some big issues in our pass protection that they weren't bringing more than we had. Okay, it wasn't like we were blocking with 5 and they were bringing 6. They were bringing 5 and we had 5 to pick their 5 up, and we just didn't pick them up. And so you know, initial assessment was that, and after watching the film, it was dead on. You know, we're not nearly as aggressive at the point of attack as what we need to be, and that was my initial gut feeling, and watching film just did nothing more than solid that up.
You talked about toughness, and now you're talking about not as aggressive. Are those?
No, it works hand in hand. No, toughness, aggressive, you know, being physical, all that. No, a toughness is a mentality, and you know, like I mentioned after the ball game, until we change that mentality, we're going to talk about this for week to week, and so that's what we've got to address. That's what, you know, we've got to coach with a harder mentality, obviously, because the mentality that we're taking to the field right now is not getting their attention. They've got to come to practice with a tougher mentality, and again, it's a mindset. It's not something that you can flip a switch on and off. I've said it since I've been coaching, that you know, and even dealing with my son and they're playing little league football, you either like to hit or you don't like to hit. And you know, if they don't bite as a puppy, they're not going to bite as a big dog. And but if they bite as a puppy, they're probably going to bite when they get older. And so those are things that, as you look at, we've got to try to get that mentality changed, and that mental toughness, and that not, and I don't want this to come across negative, the nastiness of when we step on the field. Not nasty play, by no means, but just a nasty, rugged, rough approach.
Yeah.
And that's a mindset.
Because you've probably heard that Clemson has a reputation for kind of playing down to the competition over the years, the last several years. As much as the sort of the architecture offensively has changed, that part's still hasn't changed.
Yeah, no, not at all, not at all. And yeah, I've heard that. You know, and this isn't the only place that I've ever been around that feels like that they play down to their level of competition. Yeah. You know, I call it a bunch of hogwash, to be honest with you. I think you are what you put on the field, and you know, we've got to be able to take opponents, whatever the opponent is, whether it's a lesser or a more superior opponent. We got to be able to maintain a consistent approach to the way we play football. And again, all that goes back into, it's a mindset, it's a mentality, and it's something that you know, we can't expand on our offense because we've got to work on our mentality and work on our mindset. So it's hard to come in and keep adding stuff when all you're doing is just you're adding more stuff so you can mess up more stuff. And then, you know, and you're trying to operate at a fast tempo. Well, until you get that mindset right, that toughness approach right, you know, we can't keep expanding. We're not going to keep expanding. We're going to get good at what we do, and you know, and we got to get better at what we do. And so but that's my approach, and it's one thing. I've always been straightforward, and I'm going to be straightforward. We're not going to sugarcoat anything. I mean, we got to get better, and it starts with like I said, and I keep using the word mindset. It starts with a toughness.
You can't coach speed. Can you coach toughness?
Well, it kind of goes back to what we were saying. You know, if they don't bite as a puppy, it's hard to get them to bite as a dog. And you know, Yeah, you can. You have to demand it, and therefore you spend all your time coaching toughness instead of worrying about trying to get things right and get things going and expanding on your offense. And so our players want to be tough. They do. They really do. They're struggling with it right now. They're struggling when to turn the switch on, when not to turn it on, playing consistent with it, when not to play consistent. I mean, that's what we're struggling with right now. And they're trying. I can tell you they're trying, and they feel that they're down. We got some guys up front guys, they're down. Coach, what went wrong? Why are we giving up these sacks? What happened? Why can't we convert this? And so there is a genuine concern, and I do appreciate that in our players. I would be really concerned if on Sunday that none of them came over here. They were all just happy-go-lucky with what they did. So that is a positive approach with this. But and they understand. They understand we got to get tougher. They understand that, and are beginning to grasp my personality and what we're demanding of them. And but again, you're 2 weeks into it. Have we gotten any tougher? I would say yes. Not quite as big a gap from week 1 to week 2 as I was expecting. But again, that's okay. I mean, we're not going to let up. We're going to bear down. I mean, the time to critique yourself is in a win, and because you can really demand a lot more on your players. So, but yes, back to your original question: can you coach toughness? Yeah, you can coach toughness. You can recruit toughness too, and you can get players that don't want to be tough. That's okay too, because we'll get somebody that can play tough. So yes, you can coach toughness.
How frustrating is it that you've got 4 returning stars, they're seniors, it's the game of football, and you're spending time on trying to get players to be tough? Why would they not want to be tough?
I don't think that they're going out there going, I'm not going to be tough today. I really don't think that. I think they're doing a lot of thinking, and when you think out on the football field, it takes aggressiveness out. So I do think that. So which tells me then we cannot keep going at a pace. We cannot keep adding or keep expanding on this offense, which is I mean, that was one of the number one things when I came off the field. I thought, well, okay, things that we thought we were ready to go with is causing our players to think a little bit too much, and we can't think right now. We can't think and play. And now how frustrating is it? How frustrating is it for those 5 guys up front, 4 of the 5 being back? I think if you talk to them right now, they tell you it's extremely frustrating for them. I mean, they're disappointed. Believe me, I know they are. I see them. I talk to them. They're disappointed in it. It's not at all a wash. I mean, let's look back on this thing before we just start, everybody wanting to crucify the offensive line, which is not the case. I mean, it's a team. It's a joint effort. I mean, we're sitting here talking, a lack of toughness and sounding like our offense is not hitting, and it's not hitting on all cylinders. And when you're not hitting on all cylinders and you're able to still pick up basically 500 yards of offense, and you take the sacks in it, and then 460 something last week. So there's some things that are happening that are positive, and we got to build on the positives, and we got to correct the negatives and what's happening. And that's my job. That's why I'm here. And I told you the other day, they're not paying me for these guys to like me. I don't care if they like me. But we're going to win, and we're going to play tough. At what point in time in this season is there something that's going to click? I don't know that. But I know this, they'll be tougher this week than they were last week. And
Saturday, Chad was maybe out on the field a little bit more than he had been the previous week. Was that an effort to get toughness and more out there?
There's no question. When you start looking at that, you start thinking, who is the guy out there you definitely feel like that is more of a rugged guy, and a hard-nosed guy, and obviously Chad Dill's name comes to mind. So yeah, he's out there a lot more than he was the first week, and he did some good things. He brings that toughness approach to us. Wish we could have picked up that 4th and 1 with him, but we didn't, and it wasn't on him. It wasn't all on him by no means, but those are just things that we got to keep expanding on and helping him out and bringing along that mentality, that toughness approach. But I can promise you this: our coaches are demanding a lot out of them. I'm demanding an unbelievable amount out of them, and we're not letting them. We're not going to give them an inch to breathe right now.
This isn't a new song. This is a song that
Well, it's new to me.
Dabo's been singing for 3 years.
It's new to me.
You've been singing, but you've been singing it since January. You know, why does it take 2 games into the season to still be in a situation where you're going, we got to be tough? I mean, this is not something that's just popped up.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I can't answer that question outside of just being an overall mindset, you know, of an approach that, you know, that these guys have taken. I don't know. I mean, I've watched film on them in the past. They were in a pro-style offense. You would expect a pro-style system to be a lot more tougher than a system that may require a few more, you know, wideouts in and out of the game. I can't answer that question right now. I don't know. If I did know, I'd fix it in a hurry. But the only thing I do know is that you know, what we demand of these guys has got to continue to be, you know, we got to continue to stress, you know, what we want out of them, and not negotiate one bit from it. And we're, like I said, we're going to get there. It's just a you know, it's frustrating for these guys up front. It's frustrating for us as a coaching staff to look at it and go, you know, why? Why is the group that we're expecting to be the ones carrying us, the ones that we're having to, come on, let's go. What's happening here? And the only thing you look back on it is they're having to think, and they're having to think, and it's taking aggression out of them. You wouldn't expect that out of you know, a group of veterans, but with a new offense and a new offensive coordinator, maybe so. And so now it's my job to dial it back and figure out, hey, okay, what? And believe me, I'm talking to them. You know, what are we doing too much? I mean, we had 3 run schemes, 3. So we've just got to make sure that we get good at least one of them.
Does your relationship with Mr. Malzahn make this week any more special? Or
This is going to be a great week. I tell you, I'm excited about this week. Our players are excited about this week. You know, Gus and I go way back. You guys know the story on that, and a great friend, and love him to death. He's just a good person in his profession, and he and his wife Christy and their family, and good people. And so, Dad, is it going to make it a little bit more special this week? It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited, and I know he was texting me last night, and you know, it's going to be a great environment.
At the same time, you guys are playing chess with a lot of the same pieces. So, I mean, in a way, you know, they've got some of the recipe already before they ever see your offense.
Well, they do, and so do we. So it's kind of, you know, it kind of works hand in hand, and you know, they know us, we're going to know them, and it you know, everybody gets caught up in that, but it boils down to being physical, being tough, executing the game plan, and you know, and it's a game of plays. You know, it'll come down to about 4 or 5 plays, and the team that makes the plays is usually the team that wins. And you know, the team that doesn't make the plays has got to overcome it and not let the ones that didn't make affect them through the course of the game. So it's still going to come down to just execution, and but it's going to be a great week, and we're really excited. I'm really excited about it as well.
Just because you knew this game was coming up, you know, when you took this job, have you and he kind of chatted, maybe laughed over the fact that, you know, less than 10 years ago, you know, you suddenly appeared in his front door and now here you are? Oh
yeah, we've definitely had that talk, and laughed about that, and just talked about the, you know, just the road along the way that's got him to where he's at, and to where that I am today. But yeah, it's been mentioned and talked about.
Jeff, what kind of offense were you running before you sought out Gus? Was your philosophy that much different, and how drastic were some of the things that he showed you to what you had been doing?
It was a drastic change from what we were doing. We were huddling. Yeah. We were probably 50-50 from the shotgun into the eye offense. We would, you know, we would run some veer, some option game. And so, yeah, there was a drastic change in all that. There's no question about it. But when you start looking at it and look at the similarities of the offenses, I mean, this is, you know, a lot of it has to do. You got some option in it. You got some wing tee in it. You got some power game in it, And so, but yeah, there's no question that it's been a drastic change.
Can you share what you guys were texting about?
No, he was just asking. No, I can't. He was just he was just saying, hey, hey, listen, you ain't gonna give away all my secrets now, are you? And I said, no, I'm not. If you won't, so. But no, that was it. That was it, really.
There won't be any surprise factor in this game.
Pardon me?
There won't be any surprise factor with their defense because they see the similarity or similar offense when they practice. Does that, because you've had to essentially go back to the fundamentals and what you can execute, does it take away any surprise, or are you at a disadvantage going into this situation?
I don't think you look at it as a disadvantage by no means. I mean, they know what they go against Gus all the time. They have for the last couple of years. Did it in spring ball. Coach Roof he's been around the block many times. There's not going to be any surprise factor that's going to come out of this. I mean, he sees it all the time and very well coached. And again, it's just going to come down to execution. I think that, and our defense has seen it since January, and they've seen the pace of the game. They've seen the many formations, the motions, the movements. So it's going to come down, in my opinion. I may be wrong. I may sit here next Monday and tell you different, but I think it's going to come down to execution, as most of the games do anyhow.
Is the terminology and everything so similar that Taj has to use different language when checking or anything like that?
No, I know one thing. That we try to change our terminology every year, and in coming here made a great time to change some terminology. Coach Malzahn does the same thing. He changes his terminology every year, changes his signals every year. All that stuff changes. I mean, if you get so caught up in that and what they're doing, I mean, you can really be more of a disadvantage than it can help you, because you start worrying about, well, what's he going to do? What's his next move? Instead of worrying about, hey, let's call the game like you've been calling it and like you've studied it and prepared your players. So.
How often do you guys talk during the season? Weekly or bi-weekly or really?
Yeah, we try to talk weekly, or we haven't really talked since the start of the season. I talked to him. We actually traded text messages over the last each week of both their wins. But I'm sure after our game we'll pick back up the conversations. We've tried not to talk a whole lot. I mean, just through text messages. I mean, again, he has nothing to hide. We have nothing to hide. I mean, you got to execute what you do, and I think I think it's neat to be going against a guy that really helped out along the way, helped me out along the way, but again, it's you can't get so caught up in all that.
Any chance you guys will get together while he's here, or will it just be on the field?
No, it'll probably be just on the field, and he'll be busy, and so will I.
Did Taj help you at all with your protection calls on Saturday, or is he still not quite there where he was? Taj does do some things in our protection scheme, but for the most part, I think he missed one protection call, and actually he ID'd the right call on the protection scheme, but missed the hot throw, and it didn't lead to a sack, but it led to a hurry and a throwaway on our sidelines toward Andre. So as far as and had he just hit his hot right then, we would have been in great shape with that. We'd have picked up a plus, whatever, but. He has not missed a protection this past week. He did. What was his?
Oh, his jump?
His jump for last week and this week.
I thought that when you start looking at the players, the improvements that each player made from week 1 to week 2, I think Taj probably increased as much as anybody. And again, he missed a few throws. He missed a hot. He's still made a few mistakes. Had some quick throws out on the edge that he just was trying to place it instead of throw it. But I definitely think that you saw him manage the game and make some plays with his feet when we had to have something made. And so I thought he's definitely getting better. I'm pleased with his progress. Now we got to get him to take on more ownership of this thing.
You talked about wanting to expand the offense. How much are you guys running right now? 50, 60%?
Yeah, right at it. I mean, I would say 50, 55% at the most. I mean, I think that, and that's kind of where we are. and I can't see us moving forward too much more. I mean, there may be a few other things that will sprinkle a new formation here and there along the way, but as far as our overall schemes of what we do and how we do it, we're not ready to expand on different things, different areas of our offense to maybe exploit the, different areas of it.
Where do you expect to be at this point? Where would you?
Well, I mean, again, we're gonna go back to what we've been talking about originally. I would expect it to be a little bit more of a hard-nosed style football team. A two-back run-oriented pound football team, and play action. And while we rushed for over 200 yards last week and 197 the week before, I mean, you look at those stats and that's impressive, and every coach in the country would love to say he's rushing for over 200 yards a game, but the way we're doing it is not really what we're after right now. I mean, everybody wants to line up and see some people move guys off the ball, and it's just not happening just yet. So we got to critique our steps. We got to critique the way we're teaching it, the way we're coaching it, and we're going to. But that's what we've been spending the last 2 days doing, is making sure that if we're not being able to progress, why aren't we being able to progress? And what's our next step? And everybody can identify the problem, but who can identify what to do and correct the problem? And I've always been about that. Let's don't sit in the room and gripe and complain. Here's the problem. Everybody knows what the problem is. Now what are we going to do to go fix it? And so we got a plan in place, and we're going to challenge some guys. We're going to move some guys around. Whatever it takes. You may see me playing in the interior line. Maybe see, whoever. I may play receiver, whatnot. But it's not just centrally located in the offensive line. I mean, it is a mindset on this side of the football right now. And I'm not on the defensive side. I'm not on all that. I don't even know what they're doing right now with it. But I know I can. I got to take care of my own house from burning down.
Are you thinking you might hit a little more during the week?
Yeah, we're going to hit more during the week. We're going to hit a lot more during the week.
Would you share
We're going to have to hit.
Share some of your personnel thoughts about?
I think you look at some things. I think Mason Cloyd he got a few reps the other night. Got 15 snaps the other night. Mason did some good things. We hope to see Mason take on a little bit more of an ownership role and see where he stands with some things. You keep thinking, you keep hoping Brandon Thomas has come along, and we got to figure out something to jerk him through the knothole. I don't know what it is yet, but he's talented. He looks good, but that don't mean a whole lot right now. I mean, we got to get out there and perform, and he's a guy that you really wished it would come on and just turn it loose and be able to challenge up front as well, but he hasn't shown to do that right now. And he's been getting every opportunity in the world. I mean, I think we've been wanting him more than he does. And that's not a good thing. So, again, we got to try to drag him through the mud and the knothole and get him rolling. And I think once he sees it and sees the success, I think, boom, the potential's there for him. But, so yeah, those Mason and Brandon, those are two guys right there that you'd love to see jump in and compete and challenge some guys. And then obviously, you got some veteran guys that you hope that take offense to everything and take a little pride about it, and that's what you want. Everybody does two things when you're faced with adversity. You either learn from it and you get better because of it, or you find a reason to blame somebody else. That's the two things everybody does. And we're not blaming anybody. It's on us. It's on me. It's on us. And we're going to get it right. I mean, we're going to get it right.
Most disappointed in the guards?
Well, I mean, I think as you look at the whole bit, I think as a collective group, if you start talking the offensive line, I mean, I don't know if there was any one particular area that really. I mean, there was a few good things and there was some bad things. And I mean, was it the guards? Was it the tackles? It was a collective. It was equal across the board. But it wasn't just the O-line. I want to say that again. Everybody wants to crucify those guys. I mean, it was. We got to play tougher as receivers. We got to play tougher as a running back. Our mindset running football, the quarterback's got to be tougher. I mean, we have a 3rd and 8 opportunity, and we run a quarterback draw, and all we got to do is fit a running back up on a linebacker, and we keep a drive alive. And we don't execute that because we weren't physical enough. We were tentative at the point of attack. So it it's not just one group.
Has any receiver identified himself as a particularly good blocker?
Oh yeah, I think that they definitely showed some improvement from week 1 to week 2 playing without the football. So yes, there are improvements in that regard.
Is there one guy who really jumps out as boy?
I thought Nuke played better without the ball. Are we close to where we want to be with those guys? No. Are we better than we were at week 1? Yes. And again, I want to see guys on the ground. I want to see DBs on the ground. I want to see people just hating to play Clemson because they know how physical when they step off the field at the end of the game, they're sitting there going, "Holy cow!" I don't want to play those guys anymore. I'm beat up. I'm bruised, and I don't think we've got that yet. I know we don't have that yet. When people get off the field with us the last 2 weeks, I really don't think that they thought that, man, those guys were really physical. And one thing we always try to tell our players is that, their coaches watch film too. They coach their players too. What are they saying about you on film? Because I know what we're in there saying about our opponents on film, going, okay, who can we attack? Who's weak? Who's soft? That's what we do as a coaching staff. And so, I think, what are they saying about you? And if we could pick their scouting report up, what would it say about you? And that would tell you everything you need to know. And so, again, it goes back to it's a collective mindset, and we're going to change the attitude of it.
During practice, I know you want to protect your players, but is there any thought of going away from thud to kind of maybe do a scrimmage situation to get guys more active, or is thud physical enough?
Well, I think you got to be, excuse me, you got to be smart. I mean, you got to be smart. You can't just, you got to pick and choose when you want to be that way. And I'm whatever they tell us the day is. If it's full tackle, it's full tackle. If it's thud, then we got to honor and respect full thud or whatever it is. And but the one thing we can't control is how we approach up front and how we approach outside.
Are Bellamy's touches more a product of him still learning everything?
Absolutely.
No.
I
didn't know if maybe because you guys needed Andre more, say last
week. I think you look at it 2 ways. I think number one, he's obviously trying to learn the offense, and number 2, you look at it as, you would have hoped that he would have got in and got more reps in with the situation in a game being different. And so it didn't present itself that way, and so Andre was definitely the guy that you gotta you trust Andre, or trust him in our pass protection schemes, picking up linebackers, and until we get those younger guys coming on, it's harder. And I think Andre played 62 snaps the other night. That's too much, but it is what it is right now, and we've got to. It's kind of like water leaking through a dike. You put your finger in one, and it's leaking over here, and then the next thing you know, you're trying to put, you're trying to piece and put things together to get some momentum rolling. And but that's, again, it's something that it's going to take a little bit, but we're going to get Mike up to speed. There's things Mike can do that are definitely that can help us win, and we've got to make sure that we're doing that and getting him ready for it.
You talked about physicality maybe being an innate characteristic where you either like to hit or you don't. What about some of the younger guys, second team, below them? I mean, do you think this is a problem that's beyond the starters and dipping down to who's going to be here next year?
Well, I think you look at it, if we thought those guys could hit, they would probably be up there. I mean, and that's the only way. If we felt like they would be more physical, then I mean, it's been an open challenge for competition since we started, since I've gotten here. And some of our guys feel like that there's a pecking order, that this is where I'm supposed to be. I'm satisfied with being in this role, and that's not the case. So there are some young guys below them that do have some talent, and you got to be careful about bringing them along and making sure that they, you don't ruin them either. So
this was when you look at all the game tape from last year, this was a you thought that this needed to be a tougher team on offense, correct?
Oh, well, there's no question. Yeah, there's no question. You have to be a tougher team. I mean, if you're going to run the style of offense that we want to run, I mean, not only you got to be more physically tough, you got to be mentally tough too, because you're going at a faster pace. You're having to react quicker, and so I definitely thought that, you know, you have to be tougher, and that, again, that's from start to finish.
Just wonder if you thought you saw this as a regression because they're learning a new offense from the level.
No,
of last
I
year,
don't. No. I'm not ever going to say we're regressing in that regard. There's no way we're regressing in it. I mean, we're not advancing as fast as we want to, but I mean, we're doing some things. There's times in there you're seeing some really good things. I mean, when you get 480 whatever many yards of offense we've gotten over the last few weeks, there are some good things that are coming out of that. You're scoring points when you need to score points. You're being able to make adjustments at halftime and come out and execute the first 2 drives and go score. You're able to go down and score to tie the game right before halftime. That was huge. So there are some good things that are happening. It's very explosive. It's just consistency is what you're lacking.
Anybody got anything else?
All right.
Thanks, guys.